So this video is going to be a little bit different. Talk about why I want to be a Cat 1, what I started when it comes to racing, and how I got to where I am now. So I've been riding a bike since I was in college. Graduated back in 2013. My goodness. I got into it through, riding for Pelotonia, which is a cancer research thing. And I moved to Chicago and I sold my bike. I didn't ride for like a couple years. And, I saw some people in my office who had like some road bikes, and I thought that was I was like, oh snap, like people are riding their bikes out here, what's going on? And my first ride, if you're in Chicago, was a Spider Monkey ride. So my first bike, I got from, it's not around anymore, but it's called Element Multisport. I went to that store mainly because they sold BMC bikes, and at the time my BMC bike was like, before I got my first road bike that I felt that far, when I was researching bikes, that was the bike I was stoked. I was like, God damn, this bike is so sick. It was all carbon fiber. It was crazy. It had Shimano 105 on it. I was so like, this bike is gonna be fast. But from there, I kind of bounced around a bit. And then the Rapha store opened up in Chicago, and at the time Rapha was the shit. And I wanted to be wearing Rapha because it was like the cool cyclists were wearing. I'm telling you, Rapha was where it's at. And I was kind of with that group for about 2 years, and I was a Rapha ride leader for them. That's where I met a ton of people in the community, people I still talk to this day. But yeah, I met people through racing, or who were racing, and interested in racing. So I kind of had like a buddy who was like, let's go try out this race, let's go do this race. And I did my first ever race, which was in Glencoe. It was a local race. I was able to ride my bike to that race. I entered in as a Cat 5. I didn't do particularly well at this race. I think I got in like late 20-something place out of like 40 people. I was hooked at that point. But the thing was, I didn't really know how to continue it from there. I kind of just like hopped around to different races that were super local in Chicago, just doing a race here and there. And actually, one of my races, I ended up crashing that beloved BMC bike. I didn't break anything, but a ton of road rash totaled. But luckily, Element Multisport at the time really helped me out on the cheaps. Not only a new BMC bike, but an upgraded new BMC bike. This one had Ultegra on it at the time. And this is all mechanical shifting at the time. This is not that beep boop shifting. I wanted to be more competitive, and I got myself a coach. And this is where it went up and down at the same time. I was getting faster. I started to do a bit better in my races. I got more podiums. I was frequently placing in the top 5, top 10. But the thing was, I lost a big social aspect to riding my bike at that time. I was probably riding about 4 times a week. And although I wasn't being super consistent with the training, when I did train, I wanted to make sure that I was hitting what I needed to hit. Basically, for that whole year, my first year of having a coach, I rode solo. And at that point, I kind of started falling out of love with cycling. I was going to races with just me and my wife. It just still felt like I wasn't part of like the cycling community, the racing community. I still wanted to do better at it. And that was the year 2019. And then I trained all winter going into 2020, and then COVID happened. I stopped working with my coach at that point, stopped riding like all together really. Then, I think it was a couple years after COVID, 2022, 2023, I think, I started riding again. I started riding with groups again. I wasn't really racing at all. I didn't really have racing on my mind. I just kind of wanted to ride more. I still wanted to be fast. So you look at my YouTube a bit, you'll see I had this Zero to Hero series that I was starting because I was like, I'm gonna rely on the YouTube folks to keep me motivated. If I'm gonna do it for them, and I'm gonna get faster. Yeah, I was just meeting, I was riding with the same people, and then, meeting new people who were also in the cycling community. And that's how I met Kai, and we started Indigo. And from there I was like, okay, let's go. I had a group of people to ride with, to race with, to be motivated with, to perform. So I got myself another coach, and I was in it at that point. I was being super consistent with all the rides and all of the training stuff, but I was also keeping in mind the social aspect part of it. I was riding with the Indigo crew a lot on the weekends for the longer miles, doing a lot of the interval stuff during the week by myself, so I had a much better balance. Yeah, and then from there I had some really, really quick success. I felt like I was kind of where I was at before when I started racing. I went from Cat 4 to Cat 3 very quickly. I was basically winning my first few races as a Cat 4. Then I went to Cat 3, and I was experiencing some success as well. I was getting podiums again. I did Chicago Grit, and I got third place in the Cat 3 Omnium overall for Chicago Grit for that 10-day series. And I won the Fulton race, which that was like one of the best days I ever had on the bike and racing. And then I became a Cat 2, and here I am as a Cat 2. I'm entering my first full year as a Cat 2. And honestly, I'm still very much so figuring it out. I'm dealing with a bunch of studs on the bike. But I'm finding my ground in there. And as I'm finding my ground as being a Cat 2, I'm telling myself, okay, let's become a Cat 1 one day. That's the ultimate goal. I don't see myself going there anytime soon. I want to start feeling very comfortable in the Cat 2s. I still have a lot to learn with just not necessarily bike handling, but bike handling in a fast environment, a technical environment, really learning how to conserve my energy. I think I have a real problem with that. But yeah, the ultimate goal is, become a Cat 1 and be competitive as a Cat 1. And I think the great thing about being a Cat 2 is I'm riding with Cat 1, I'm able to watch them in the race and learn from them. That's been the real lesson for me in all of this. I think when I started as a Cat 4, becoming a Cat 2 felt like an impossible goal. And I didn't get there by just some massive breakthrough. If anything, the breakthrough was realizing how important consistency is, and how that's, I'm sure you've been beaten over the head with consistency, but it really is what's gonna make the difference. You're really piling bricks one after the other, and it's not gonna look like a house or a mansion after just a couple of bricks. You just gotta keep doing that. I'm still working on building a house, putting the bricks down, putting in the work, being consistent with the work, learning in every race that I'm in. That's what I love about cycling. It's just, I feel like I've gotten back exactly what I've put into it. And at the beginning, it was quicker, and now it's a little bit slower, but it's still giving back. And that's my story, and that's how I got here. So, yeah, thanks for watching.